Australian true crime story. The murder of Megumi Suzuki. In April 2001, the city of Adelaide was shaken by the sudden disappearance of 18-year-old Japanese student Megumi Suzuki. She had arrived in Australia with big dreams, studying English, making friends, and experiencing life far from home. For her family back in Japan, Megumi was adventurous and full of promise. But in Adelaide, her story would become one of the city's darkest mysteries. Megumi was last seen leaving her apartment in the inner-city suburb of Adelaide, not far from where she studied. When she failed to show up for classes and friends couldn't reach her, alarm bells rang. By the following day, police were involved. For a while, there was hope that she might have simply gone away for the weekend. But soon, it became clear something more sinister had happened. Investigators discovered that Megumi had been living with a man she met while in Australia. Suspicion quickly turned toward him after inconsistencies emerged in his statements. Witnesses reported odd behavior, and detectives began to piece together a troubling timeline. Within weeks, police declared that Megumi had likely been murdered, though her body had not yet been found. It wasn't until later that the grim truth surfaced. Her remains were discovered in bushland outside Adelaide, confirming what many had feared. The man she had been living with was charged and later convicted of her murder. For the Japanese community, and for international students across Australia, the case was terrifying. Megumi had come to Adelaide full of optimism, only to meet with betrayal and violence at the hands of someone she trusted. Her murder highlighted the vulnerability of young people living far from home, often without close family nearby. The case also left scars on Adelaide. Once again, the city's reputation as a place of safety was stained by brutality. To this day, many remember the media coverage that dominated headlines in 2001, the photos of a smiling young woman whose life was cut short, and the community vigils held in her memory. Megumi Suzuki's story endures not just as another crime statistic, but as a reminder of how quickly innocence can be destroyed. She was far from home, chasing her dreams, and instead became the victim of betrayal and violence. For her family in Japan, the grief is immeasurable. They lost a daughter to a crime that should never have happened. And though justice was eventually served, closure has remained elusive. The bushland where her remains were discovered is quiet now, but for many, it will always be tied to her memory. Her case reminds us of the risks faced by the vulnerable and the darkness that sometimes hides behind familiar faces. Please like and subscribe for more true horror shorts.